Alrighty then, hello again everyone and welcome back to my podcast. I'm Gnator8t4 and once again I'm going to be talking to someone about some of their favourite games, and today it's Ellie.
Hello.
What is it you sort of do for those who don't know?
People like to think I'm a content creator, but I'm just a very awkward, nerdy British girl, basically.
Yes, who games a lot, and we've got some games to talk about. So, compared to Manclaw, who kind of looked at stuff that was more influential to him and his taste, this is more just personal favourites.
Some of the earlier ones on the list are just personal favorites, and then like the last two, I'd say, are more influential things. So it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
They're favourites and they've influenced me as well.
Alright, cool. So we'll start with the first game on the list, one, or a series, in fact, that I haven't played but I do know of, Rhythm Heaven.
Or Rhythm Paradise is also known in the UK, I think. For some reason they changed the name for American and UK. I don't know why they do that, but...
Yeah, it's weird. Yes, do you want to talk about it?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to ask me a question about it or something.
No, just to introduce, what is the game? What is the game?
Well, it's a rhythm game with it's basically a whole load of mini games, but they're set to rhythms, and it is very complicated, to be honest. They are very difficult, and getting perfect takes a long time, but I managed it, and I managed it back on the DS ones, which were almost near impossible to do. They're such a pain, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a game called Rhythm Thief on the 3DS, which I think is kind of similar in that sort of minigame, but it's got a bit more of a story to it. And it is quite satisfying to kind of like nail all of it well.
Yeah, because I've played the DS, I've got the Wii one on my Wii U console's virtual software, and I've also got the 3DS Mega Mix, which kind of throws all of them into one game, which I quite like. It's sort of a bit nostalgic in that sense.
Yeah, so it's compilation. Do you have any particular favourites of the games, or is it just kind of they're all kind of fun and unique?
They all have... You see, this is the thing. Each game has their own game in that particular era, which is good, but I must admit, the fact that the 3DS brought all of them together was quite nice in that way. So it brought all the best games from all the older series into one. It was quite a nice sort of tribute almost to the whole sort of saga. I'd have to say the Mega Mix is probably the best, just because it brings everything good together, really.
Okay, so shall we move on to number 4? I'm slightly ashamed to admit I've not played too much of it, but the sequel is one of my favourite games of all time. So Super Mario Galaxy Uno.
Yes, the original one. Don't get me wrong, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is quite a good game, but it didn't quite have the same story as Galaxy 1, which really gripped me when I was younger. That's why I prefer Galaxy 1 over Galaxy 2, I'm afraid. But not that Galaxy 2 is a bad game, it's just the way I see it, Galaxy 2 for me was more like DLC from the first game.
Yeah.
Like an expansion, not an actual sort of true sequel, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think for a lot of people, it's kind of whichever one they played first. And I've not, played loads of one, although I should rectify that at some point, definitely. But it is just kind of, compared to the other Mario games, there's just kind of a grandeur to it, you know?
Well, there hasn't been anything like it since. It seems to be a very sort of... they've never copied it since. It's very much... It was just those two games and that was it, which is quite surprising, considering... imagine Galaxy on the Switch. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that they never thought of anything like that, really.
Yeah, and it's just sort of kind of, it feels like every other level there's just some sort of new gimmick being introduced. It's constantly creative and innovative.
It's just a shame that they haven't really done much with it since. It just kind of died on the Wii, and yeah, it's just a thing, really.
Yeah, not a bad legacy to be left with, because I believe on Game Rankings, the Now Deceased website, it's the most critically acclaimed game on there, so there you go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, greatest game of all time. Ellie thinks so. Well, one of them anyway. Alright, so in number 3, now I'm curious to see if this is the Wii or DS version, because I have played the DS version, My Sims.
It's the Wii version.
Okay. Well, I imagine they're similar.
I wouldn't know, because I never played the DS one. The reason why I liked this one so much is because, well, funnily enough, it's very similar to how New Horizons is before New Horizons was a thing. You could create houses however you wanted to. You could pretty much design any of the furniture however you wanted to. And I got to admit, I was quite a cheater back then, so I had all the cheat codes for that particular game and got very exclusive stuff and had infinite essence, as they called it, and I basically made monster houses.
Oh wow!
The whole game and maxed out everything. It was just great.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we're going to be talking about Animal Crossing a bit later on, but for now, it's kind of what is the appeal of those type of games where there's not really like a definitive goal. It's just kind of you just kind of take things at your own pace.
I think it is the fact that I can take as long or as quick as I like with the games, that I don't feel like I have to rush any objective. I can kind of pick up, start where I kind of left off, really. I think it is also the creative freedom, I think. Like, the fact that there's no limits, you could just kind of do whatever you want to. You can make things as ridiculous as you like.
Yeah.
I think that's what I loved about it.
Alright, so let's go on to number 2, and again from last time we're talking about it again, Mario Kart, but specifically 8/Deluxe.
Yeah, I mean, they're both pretty much the same games, so
Yeah.
I sort of threw both of them on, really.
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
this one has a bit more of a deeper meaning. Through this game, I met you and a lot of other gaming people that I am always connected with now since 2015, which feels like a lifetime for me.
Yeah, oh my god.
Back when you were a wee boy.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But no, I mean, that game has influenced a lot of my life now, and I would not be the same person without it. It feels weird if I didn't. Well, true facts, actually. Me buying the Wii U was actually a mistake.
Oh.
But a good mistake. Not going to go into too much detail, but I had quite a bit of money saved up because I was going to be going to a trip with a ex-boyfriend at the time. But I never went on the trip because I got dumped. So what ended up happening was the money that got left over, I used on the Wii U console because it was discounted at the time and I had enough money saved up. So me buying the console was, in a way, something that I was never planning on doing, but other circumstances made it so I did buy the console, and then I fell in love with gaming again and met all of you lovely people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd say things worked out quite well.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, me buying the Wii U was a complete and utter mistake, but I'm very grateful for it, even if the console is dead.
Yeah, and Mario Kart was the defining entry for it. Okay, so now we're on to the last game, but kind of a bit similar to last time with Mankalore and Mario Kart. I feel like it's kind of your series, you know, this is the pinnacle of gaming. So Animal Crossing, so specifically New Leaf, and we'll go to New Horizons a bit later just because we're both a bit more familiar with New Leaf due to it being out for longer.
So yeah, with New Leaf, it was, well, I mean, I'm a very big lover of Animal Crossing. I've had pretty much almost every single edition. Like, I started off actually with the DS, and that's when I fell in love with the whole like series. And I've kind of bought every single one since then. And well, I took liberty to finding a secondhand GameCube edition via secondhand shop stores. They're great for that kind of thing. So I was able to eventually get the GameCube one as well. And like I said, I've just played everyone since then after falling in love with the Wild World being the DS version. But what's specifically good about New Leaf was it was the first time you could sort of build stuff outside. It gave like a whole nother level to the game, and
being the mayor as well, kind of having that level of power to it.
Oh yeah, exactly. And well, it was also the first time I think I invested pretty much almost a lot of my hours into the game, actually. Like, I got it the day before it released. It was like my first ever game I pre-ordered. And looking at it now, I think if I were to look on my 3DS console, I think it would probably say I've invested at least 2,000 hours into the game.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so New Leaf is actually another one of my favourites as well. I mean, like, I played the Wii version. I know kind of like the DS and the GameCube are very similar to one another, but kind of New Leaf having all those innovations, and it's just nice. It's one of those things where it's just like there's no challenge or anything, but it's just kind of pleasant to play, kind of get into daily routines, and just kind of, you know, see all the quirky characters. It's a lovely game. That's a good way of putting it.
Well, and that also leads on to the most recent one that everyone has been non-stop playing.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we can talk about this a lot. Not too much, because obviously one of the things with kind of Animal Crossing is kind of just letting time go by to it. But so sort of kind of first early impressions.
Well, with early impressions, it is the first ever Animal Crossing that I've got a Mancolor actively playing. So I think it's been very successful in that sense that someone who isn't normally an Animal Crossing fan is now playing it with a veteran Animal Crossing fan. That I thought would never happen, but I think it definitely, with New Horizons, it makes up for the fact that they did have Happy Home Design and Amiibo Festival in between, because it's been such a long time since they've had like a proper mainline game like this, and you know what, the wait's been worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have both those games, but this is the gift. Basically, Animal Crossing New Horizons is the gift that keeps on giving the more you invest in the time with it.
Yeah, so one of the things I really like about it is kind of that it feels like there's a bit more kind of sense of progression to it, the way you kind of develop your island a bit more gradually, and there's kind of feels like there's daily objectives, but not really. Kind of, as you said, you can kind of take it at your own pace, and there's certain things like the Nook Mile system and everything, and yeah, I'm definitely getting quite addicted to it. It's just one of those things you can kind of, even if it's just once a day, just kind of check what's in the shops and everything, and it's just sort of, you get into a bit of a routine with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I don't want to self-promote too much, but I've been doing sort of daily videos on Animal Crossing with my progression, because I actually like seeing in real time like how things change, because you could I suppose you can kind of forget how the game started off, but having the videos, you can sort of look back and think, wow, that's how my island looked to start with, and look how much it's changed since then. It's just nice sort of being reflective, really.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and yeah, definitely be sure to check out those videos. I think that's all we've got to say, so thank you for listening once again. Thank you, Ellie, for being a guest.
It's alright.
Yeah, and we'll be back, well, I'll be back with more soon. Ciao!